Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening and a warm welcome to another edition of the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott and we are going to be reviewing the Stoke City FA Cup win and also yesterday's win at Molineux. I'm about to be joined by the usual bunch of reprobates. Good evening, boys. Mr. Noble, how are you?
Good evening, Nick. I'm very well. Good evening, everybody.
And down under is the Australian Pele. Good evening, Aaron. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, mate. That's a big hype to live up to that. But yeah, I'll take it.
Good man. And not so down under these days. Welcome again to Tim Richards. Tim, how are you, mate?
All right, Nick. Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Did you get wet the other night, Tim?
It wasn't too bad, actually. It was funny about by the halfway line, we looked round about 20 minutes, and it was like a deluge coming down onto some poor people, but it wasn't us, so we just laughed.
Yeah, funny enough, we did much the same in Holmesdale. It was there was that one bit of guttering, wasn't there, where it was absolutely tipping it down. I mean, you think about. So I was about to use the expression "awash." We were awash with money from the Premier League. Yet we can't get the guttering right. But there you go, boys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us up your Sunday evening. I hope everybody's well. And out in Facebook land, thank you for joining us wherever you are watching in the world. Ian, why don't we kick off by saying some hellos, because people are saying hello to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Big hello to people joining us on the show tonight. There's some background noise somewhere. Real Panel is with us. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Colin Waterman, Steve Chandler, Rob Cranfield, Mark Drew, Ian Appleby, James Convey, John Knox, Georgia Wugu, Renshaw Barker, Claire Davies with child. Hello, Claire. Hope you're keeping well. Luke Cooper, Mickey Philpott, Phil Holden. The list goes on and on. Great bunch of people following us. And I had Paul Bristow's on, but a special shout out to Paul Bristow. I met Paul at Wolves Away yesterday, and he travels from Plymouth for every single game and home and away. So big shout out to you, Paul. Well done, mate.
Absolutely, and well said as well. Somebody, I think he said, so far this year he's spent, I'm sure I saw it on one of the Facebook groups earlier on today, in excess of £700 travelling up from Plymouth for home and away. So he's spending an awful lot of money. Ladies and gentlemen, at Facebook land, before we get into it, just to let you know, my end, I am suffering from one or two technical issues. So if my sound quality is not as clear as it normally is, my apologies. I'm sorry about that. There's not an awful lot I can do about it, and I won't just dump it over to the boys to continue. I'm hoping it's going to sort itself out. Is it sounding all right at the moment, lads?
Comes and goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but we'll crack on and see how it goes. If necessary, we'll pull the plug on it. So, Crystal Palace are now 90 minutes away from a Wembley appearance. Before we go into that, and we're going to do the Stoke game. So we're playing obviously Everton in the quarter-final, date to be confirmed. My understanding from listening to Carl Davis, he believes he's pretty certain it'll be the 19th or the 20th. He thinks it's going to be the 19th. Is that a Sunday? Sunday's the 19th, isn't it?
No, Saturday's the 19th. It definitely won't be the Friday or the Saturday because Everton play on the Thursday night.
Cool.
Everton play on the Thursday night, and therefore it's going to be the Sunday. We just don't know the kickoff time.
So it's going to be the Sunday. Yeah, absolutely right. So let's get Selhurst Park absolutely ran to the rafters. Okay, make sure there's absolutely no available tickets left for Tim Richards to get his hands on. Okay, so the rest of us can have a good night. Okay, because now you know we'll sort you out, Timbo. Well, if we don't sort you out, we'll sort Wendy out anyway.
That's all right. I just question Aaron's commitment to the club, where he's not making any plans to come up for it. And I'm pretty shocking myself, really.
Actually, you say that, but you jest. But he is actually making plans to come over in the summer that you didn't know. Okay, so whether there's going to be any Palace games to go, that will. Yeah, we're talking about Paul Bristow coming up from Devon, coming up from the wet place down under. It would be really impressive, wouldn't it, Aaron?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it would be nice to get back, but we'll wait and see. We know what's going on in the world at the moment, so we'll hope and pray that I can get back over for certain.
Well, I've had to work with customs and excise, and they won't be letting you in anyway, so we completely waste. Anyway, on to the Stoke game. It's it was one of those games we're going to be talking actually. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but we're actually going to be talking about two contrasting games completely, because quite frankly, in my humble opinion, we were probably a little bit lucky to get away with the win on Wednesday night, Tuesday night. When was it? Tuesday night. On Tuesday night. There was no question that Stoke came and they were up for that game. And in periods of that game, they were the better side, without any shadow of a doubt. We got lucky, but we'll take that luck. You need that sort of luck to go proceed if you're ever going to get yourself back to Wembley. It happened before, and no doubt it'll happen again. So the lineup for that game was Butland in goal, Klein, Geehy, and we've got to spend some time on Mark Geehy tonight, guys. Joachim Andersen, Adramola, Kouate, Hughes, Elise, Ayew, Mateta, and Zaha up top. On the bench, Guaita, Kelly, Riedewald, the all-important Riedewald, Schlupp, Milivojevic, Gallagher, Eze, Edouard, and Benteke. And another week goes by, boys, where Eze and Edouard are not involved. And if you notice, we mentioned it on the show last week, was it? I think it was last week we talked about it. And it's actually now starting to filter on the social media platforms as well. Ian, you've obviously seen Twitter this week. People are actually talking about whether they picked it up from what we were saying. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, there's two conversations here. One is Edouard and one is Eze, and I don't think you can have the same conversation about both of them. I think with Edouard, he's just not the favoured forward. You can only play one of them, Mateta, Benteke, or Edouard. Mateta is getting the nod at the moment. You know, he got his goal yesterday again, and all the time he's scoring, you'd think he's going to keep the shirt. You know, Benteke, for me, especially in the Stoke game, even the cameo he had against Stoke and the slightly longer time he had yesterday, I like the look of Benteke ahead of Mateta. I know everyone doesn't share that view. Aaron doesn't share that view, and you can have your say in a minute, Aaron. But Edouard just isn't getting a look in at all. The last football he played was a 1 minute off the bench at Watford, which ruined a lot of fantasy teams when he spoilt substitutions and that kind of thing. But he's just not getting the opportunity. Now, Patrick Vieira sees these guys day in, day out and knows them much better than we do. So clearly he knows something that we don't about Edouard. When he was asked this week about Edouard, he was asked about his best position. He said Edouard is best up top as a number 9. I've played him out left, but his best position is number 9, and he will have some part to play this season still an awful lot of games to play. I think with regard to Eze as a midfielder, he's just not getting in the side at the moment because of the other options we have. Gallagher and Elise are getting it picked ahead of him. He can't really come in any other position in my book, and he's still probably some way off his best. And you know, we've seen when he has played that although he's still got that sort of glide when he picks the ball up, it isn't quite where he was last season. So I think that's why Eze's not getting picked at the moment. And isn't it great? I mean, I just looked at the bench yesterday, and my goodness me, you know, our bench is so strong at the moment, and we've got a fantastic strength in depth, and therefore, you know, that's why Edouard and Eze just aren't getting a look in at the minute.
I also wanted to touch on Adramola, boys. Okay, Aaron, we'll come to you really, if you don't mind. While you're talking, gentlemen, I want to talk about Adramola and Geehy in particular, okay, because I'm going to jump off in a minute. How did you think Adramola did? Some people were saying they thought he was a little bit nervous in the first half, and also then I want to go into detail, all of you talking about Mark Geehy, because I've got my own personal thoughts on it, and that noise seems to have stopped now, boys. Would I be right?
Yeah, it's less slightly. Yeah. Oh, it's back.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Adramola.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he did pretty well. I can see, look, at the end of the day, when you start your first senior game, you're going to be a bit nervous, I think. But I think he held his own pretty well. Like, I know the goal, you could say was his fault a little bit, but if anything, I'd say that's more Will Hughes' fault. He should be tracking his runner back. I'm so awful with pronunciation, but Adaramola, he's come out, as a left back position I play, he's come out because there's no one pressuring that guy on the ball. Will Hughes should be tracking back. But other than that, I thought he was brilliant. And can I just say, when I watched him, that guy is absolutely rapid. Absolutely rapid. The way he ran forward with the ball, I was like, oh, he's got a bit of pace on him. But no, I thought he did really well. He held his own. Let's not beat around the bush. Stoke are a half decent side. I know they were in bad form, but they're a half decent side. I don't know too much about their team, but I'd say maybe that was their full strength team. So I thought he did pretty well and held his own. And it's good to see youngsters getting a chance. But yeah, go on, Ian.
Yeah, I thought he looked better going forward. Actually, when he carried the ball forward, he looked really good. He's got a lot to learn still, isn't he? He's still young. It's his first game as a start, and frankly, you can't argue with that performance. But I thought, for me, as a fullback, he looked more like a wing back going forward rather than a natural left back sort of thing. We've got someone join us. Look, Mr. Lyons. Hello.
Who's that?
Listen,
Who's
I'm
that?
going to cut.
This is your foreign
I've got to say,
correspondent.
welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. He's on holiday at the moment. He's on holiday. Where is it you are? I don't know where you are.
Somewhere in the Canaries, but obviously it's on a need-to-know only basis.
Listen, mate, you have been missed, and welcome back. I hope you and the family are all well. And thank you for jumping on. Have you jumped on to take over from me a minute while I go and reset my router? Is that what you're on for?
Oh, you still having issues?
Actually, boys, I think it seems to have cleared it. So we'll crack on.
I thought you
were talking
got a new laptop. I've been seeing that you're now a producer. You're able to wing it on your own. What's going on?
Chaos,
on,
Ian. Chaos, mate.
It is chaos.
Anyway.
Ian, because you haven't been on for a few weeks, okay, I want your.
It's gone.
He's gone
Blimey. See, I'm back for 30 seconds and he's kicked off.
What an impact. We were talking about the new boy. We're calling number 45 because we can't pronounce his name. The left back. I thought he had a good debut against Stoke. But interestingly, he wasn't included in the squad yesterday at all. So, it's not like a given he's going to play every week or anything like that. He's still got some way to go. Tim, what about you? What are your thoughts on the young lad that started against Stoke?
Excuse me. He was nervous. You could see that. But like Aaron said, who wouldn't be? But I thought he did pretty well. And to be fair, he didn't get a lot of support. Tom said as much in the chat. Wilf gave him very little backup. So he was kind of doing it mostly on his own. So, I thought he played for his first game. He did what was necessary, and there were a few times, like Aaron said, when he was running forward with the ball and you could hear the crowd actually go, oh, this is what we need. So, I thought he did pretty well, to be fair.
Yeah, and Paul Bristow saying, Adaramola. That's helpful, Paul. Thank you very much indeed. It'd help if we did our prep on this show, wouldn't it? So there we go. The Stoke game, what was the highlight of the first half? Any highlights in the first half? Anybody?
We weren't losing at half time.
That's an incredibly wise perception.
I'll tell you what I thought the highlight was. I thought the light show was the highlight before we kicked off, actually. I thought that was about the highlight of the first half. Literally, there was nothing to write home about. And it was a filthy night, wasn't it? And we just talked about the weather a little bit, but it poured with rain. And I think that's what everyone was feeling, just a horrible night for football. And that old stand, the main stand, it's an embarrassment when that starts leaking like it did the other night. But we came back in, we got hold of it in the second half. We certainly picked up the game in the second half and broke the deadlock on the 53rd minute with Koute. Aaron or Tim, talk us through the goal, the first opening goal against Stoke.
Aaron, after you, mate.
Talk us through the first goal.
The
or second
opening goal.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I have to be honest. I thought it was going to be ruled out for offside, and I was watching it on
It
TV.
almost was.
Yeah, I think it was, Ian. You're right. It was very close. But no, it was a great ball into the box. It was actually nice to see us for a change actually scoring from a ball into the box instead of conceding. Because the amount of times the ball goes into the box and we're like, oh no. But no, look, it's a great. I can't remember who exactly flicked it on, but it's great to see Kouyaté alive at the back post. You know, because I feel like sometimes, but I know we'll get onto it, especially in the Wolves game, that, you know, there was just no one there ready for that. Because I thought we could have punished Wolves a bit more. But no, it's great to see. And it was a great finish as well, because I tell you what, that comes to him pretty quick as well. So to slam that right into the top corner was a great finish.
Tim?
Yeah, Tim.
But this kind of comes back to what we were talking about during the gaming, and the confusion with Vieira not having a proper striker up front. Say what you want about Mateta, yes, he is scoring, but especially Tuesday night, he was completely unable to trap the ball, to hold the ball up, to lay the ball off. He mistimed every time he went for a header. He mistimed it. So because of that, there's no point putting crosses in normally because there's no one there that's going to get onto them.
And Aaron, I can
Are you
tell
talking about
who the
Mateta,
assist
Tim?
is. Yeah, we're talking about Mateta.
No, I disagree with that entirely. What game were you at?
Tuesday night.
No, you were clearly one of those ones getting rain coming down in front of you from the main stand. No, I thought Mateta did all right. I thought he's blossomed. I tell you what, Mateta's done more in the last 3 games than Benteke's done in the last 2 years. He's showing how to play the single man up front, hold the ball up. He's getting more involved. He's, you know, and he's going to be a steal. What was it? 9 million we paid for him at the end of the day. Much better than that. But the goal. I mean, coming back to the goal itself, I thought that Kouyaté did really well. All right, come off his shin, but had Ayew been in that position, he would have been looking the wrong way. You know, under Vieira, it's so nice to see that we're just getting people into the box. That's what it's always been about. You're not going to score if you've only got one person in the box, are you? You're going to score if you've got 2 or 3 people in the box. Now we're doing that, then you know, I think we're already scored 10 goals more in the league than this time under Hodgson. Okay, we haven't quite got the points, but it's nice to be giving points away as opposed to grabbing them at the last minute and the last second. Always fighting for the points.
I think the Mateta debate will run for a few weeks yet. I'm more with what Tim's saying, Ian. I hear what you're saying. He's, you know, and as I said earlier, you cannot argue with the fact that he's scoring goals. I'll tell you who made that goal that Kouyaté scored against Stoke. It was Mateta. He got the assist, but he got the assist because he had a shot that was going wide. You know, he didn't intend to pass it to Kouyaté. He had a stab at it. Now, you've got to have stabs at the ball in the box, and he had a few yesterday at Wolves as well that didn't come off. But you've got to be in those positions, of course. So I'm not knocking Mateta. I wouldn't be surprised to see him keep the shirt. But we've got an echo on the line again. Ian.
What I'd like to see is us gamble a bit now. I think once the team settles down, I'd like to see him start changing formation. Mateta can do a job, single man up front. Okay, I think that the service needs to be a little better. But I think Edouard is being frozen out at the minute, and I think it's far better. It will be far better playing alongside Mateta, and I think the two of them could form quite a fierce partnership. You give up things, obviously, to put the two up front. You'll have to lose a defensive midfielder. And I think sometimes and I think this is the progression that Vieira's going through, isn't it? He's not gone from Hodgson to where Vieira wants to be. Where's the camera? You know, overnight, he's doing it in progression. And I think the next stage is to have that flexible squad and that flexible formation, so we can match up against particular teams' weaknesses.
I think the other thing to bear in mind, boys, and nobody's mentioned it, is that yeah, Ian, I take your point you just said about Edouard being frozen out. I don't know if so much of it's frozen out, whether he's ready or not, or whether he's fit enough to come back in full time. But what we have here is two young players, both on long-term decent deals. Okay, so the future is really good, and we're also still talking about Eze coming back as well. Eze, so and Mr. Noble mentioned it earlier on. Our strength in depth is something that, in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen. Aaron, can you do something from the chat, mate? Tell me, what's going on in the chat? Anything?
Yeah, there's a bit going on in the chat, mostly about my echo. Might have been me. Apologies to everyone out there. Someone said I sounded like a parrot, or do I have a parrot, which is a fair comment. But yeah, just some. I noticed a comment. Just a lot of the boys talking about Adaramola as well. A lot positive for him. And Rob Cranfield, this is a great comment, by the way. Tonight's live comms brought to you by the same bloke who maintains the roof in the main stand. That is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, keep the chat coming, guys, and we'll read it. We'll read them out.
More pissing about than pissing down.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that, I mean, when we were going back from the game on the Tuesday, the one thing that Wendy and I were talking about was quite strange for us. Even though we played badly, we still managed to get the win. And you always hear about teams that are going to win championships or teams that win leagues or whatever, cups. They're the ones that win when they don't play well. And that's what we did Tuesday night. And I think the other thing as well is what's new for us is it's almost like we're reaching the heights of having squad rotation, where we have a squad that's deep enough with enough quality that we can rest players for a couple of weeks and play other players. And we're not used to that. When have we ever had that in the past? So it may just be the case that that's what Vieira's doing. Edouard and Eze will get their time, but we've got enough players now. You know,
I also think that you've got the likes of Ayew and that their contracts are coming to an end as well. So, you know, Benteke. So even though we've got rotation at the minute, there are going to be spaces there to be filled. But yeah, you're right. I think what the squad's currently doing is it's highlighting the people that they're just not going to fight for, you know, signing contracts next year and allowing the likes of Dougie and Patrick to plan moving forward. I mean, I came on when you guys were speaking about Adaramola. Boy, can that kid run. I'll tell you, he's the only one I think it would keep up and beat Lamptey at the minute. He's obviously got a lot of talent. It's good for Mitchell and Mitchell's progress. I agree with what Tim was saying when I popped on, that he got absolutely, for the Stoke game, he got absolutely no support from Will. And in fact, it's Gay that was doing a lot of the talking to him and covering for him and supporting him. And he's been an absolute star, Gay. You know, as Anderson's dropping back, Gay is going up.
I'm gonna jump off in a minute because of the echo. Ian, you just raised the point about Geehee. My last question of the night, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Noble, is can you see Mark Geehee getting a call up for this week's international call ups? Boys, I wish you luck, and everybody out on Facebook, man, I'll see you soon. I'll leave it to the lads. Good night, all.
See you, Nick. We'll cope without you. I think it was
You're
Nick's
crying,
end.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all right.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back to the Nick's question a little bit later on, but I want us to finish the Stoke game first because we're sort of 1-0 up on 53 minutes. We've talked about the goal, an element of good fortune with Mateta's assist, but, you know, Checky Kuse was in the right place, and I think you're right, Ian. You know, had that been Ayew, he would have been in the wrong way, or he would have put it over the bar or something like that, wouldn't he?
It'd have been aisle 4 of Sainsbury's, exactly.
Absolutely. So, you know, having gone 1-0 up on a filthy night, you know, can you do it on a cold night Wednesday at Stoke? No. Can you do it on a cold Tuesday in South East London when the Stoke are the visitors? You know, how disappointing was it then to go, you know, to concede the lead and go level just 5 minutes later? Who wants to pick that one up? Aaron, how did you feel about that when you were watching it back, mate?
Oh, I mean, look, I've already touched on the goal. I mean, I think Ian's right actually. Lyons, he's right because you know, what happened that game was, you know, Wilfred was giving the young lad no support whatsoever. Now, that guy that Adaramola had to come out to was Wilf's man, really, in talking formation. So, yeah, look, the ball comes in, and Michael Elise's lost his man. That left back's been bombing forward all game. And slots it right into the back of the net. But look, it could have been avoided. There's a few mistakes in there. But
and as we've already said, Stoke were really up for it, weren't they? You know, it was their night, it was their cup final, so to speak. And
their fans are great as well.
Yeah, they were. You know, there weren't many of them, but they still made a lot of noise. Okay, and then of course, you know, you're fearing the worst. You're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, you know, it's pouring with rain. It's 1-1. Please don't let this go to extra time. Please don't let this go to penalties. You know, I haven't got the will to live to sit here at Selhurst to watch all that. And Patrick Vieira made a few changes. What do you view, Tim, on the substitutes that were made against Stoke? So Riedewald came on, and who else came on? Let me just have a quick look. I ought to have it here, and I haven't got it handy. But Riedewald came on, and of course, he got his goal. Thoughts about Riedewald, Tim?
I was glad to see him get a chance. Gallagher came on as well.
Yes, of
I
course.
believe. It was good, and this is the thing I love about Patrick Vieira this season, is that unlike another manager for the last 4 years, he's not afraid to make changes early, and he's not afraid to make bold changes. But I was glad to see Riedewald. I've always liked him. I mean, he's not always played the best. I know we're going on to the Wards game, but from what I heard, Schlupp played brilliantly yesterday. I mean, he didn't play that well on Tuesday. None of them really did. But I was glad to see Gyro get his chance. I'm so glad he scored, not only because we won, but that's his first goal at Selhurst Park. And he even made a comment, you know, the first goal in front of Palace. So I just like it.
Absolutely.
He's a good player. He's a good player. We've always said this from the start. You know, he is a good player. Unfortunately, he's not someone he's a luxury in a dogfight. And that's what we've been in for the last few years. And I think Vieira's not stupid. I think Vieira knows the quality. Coming from the Ajax academy, the kid's got talent. He's one of the best passers in the squad. It's just trying to find a place for him. And whether or not he's going to be able to do that with the squad we've currently got, I don't know. Macca's coming to an end. Gallagher's unlikely to stay, although now you know, there's going to be a fire sale at Chelsea just to keep the FFP stuff away. We might be able to grab hold of him, but you know, he's going to need people. He needs people in and around him to win the ball, and then that boy can use the ball.
I mean, just one other thing about Adaramola. I saw an interview with him online, and he was saying how helpful Jaro Riedewald had been to him. Jaro Riedewald, you know, having, as you said, Ian, come through that academy at Ajax, and so he knows what it's like to come through an academy at a top club, and he's helped him a great deal. So that was you know, good to hear. Good to hear. And we're going to move on to the Wolves game in a minute. But I think just getting the job done, Tim, I think it was you that said, you know, it wasn't pretty against Stoke, but we got the job done. And, you know, thankfully, you know, in normal time and, you know, very professional in the end. And so, you know, on to the sixth round, on to the quarterfinal. We can breathe a huge sigh of relief. And that's a still picture there of Riedewald strike. You know, it's going through a lot of players, that shot, isn't it? You know,
but he knew where it was going, though, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he knew exactly what to do. Just hit it low.
Absolutely. Good. Okay. So I've got an echo now on my just crazy. Can you hear the echo?
No.
Oh, okay. Must be just me then. Okay. So
I should have said no, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I?
The quarterfinal draw. How weird is it that we were ball number 2 and we got ball number 8 for the 6th season in a row or something ridiculous?
Well, who comes up with this stuff?
Paul Bristow did, actually.
Paul, you're sad man.
Yeah. And Yeah, so the draw, I mean, when you look at the draw, got to be pleased with that draw, lads. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we dodged a few bullets, didn't we? Definitely.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have wanted Middlesbrough away, for instance. That's
I don't
another,
know.
you know.
Well, I think
I
the
know
most
Mr.
important
Croucher
thing,
would have loved it.
Shit.
yes, he would. The most important thing is we've got the home tie, and you know we've seen the home advantage can make a real difference in the FA Cup already this season. So you know, if let's say this, if we go on and win this competition, or someone said yesterday, when we go on and win this competition, we will have done it without leaving London. That's an interesting fact, isn't it? You know, we would have played every single game in the capital if we managed to go on and win the FA Cup. And we're, of course, just 3 games away from doing that. Now, in terms of when that game is going to be played, we know that Everton have a home Premier League game against Newcastle on Thursday, the 17th of March. Therefore, it's not going to be played on Friday or Saturday, and likely to be played on Sunday, the 20th of March. Kickoff to be confirmed. And tickets, I don't think, will go on sale for that game until the final 5th round tie between Forest and Huddersfield is played out tomorrow evening. And after that, when they know the games, they'll announce them on the TV. And then once they've announced them, then Palace will put those tickets on sale. I hope they keep them at a reasonable price. What would you say would be a fair price for a quarter-final?
Well, I think based on the ticket sales for Stoke, I would say somewhere closer to what it was for the Hartlepool game.
So 20 pounds or 25 pounds?
Yeah, 20 for adults, 5 for kids. That'll get them in.
Yeah, 5 kids. I'm not so sure about that. It's a school night.
All right, and OAPs, obviously, Tim. Sorry, mate.
Cheers.
There we go. Let's move on to yesterday's game. And going into yesterday's game, Wolves are having a great season. Yes, they lost a couple of games before that. But what were your expectations before yesterday? Ian Lyons, first of all.
The expectations, I thought we were going to lose. I thought we were going to be. We've been a little patchy, haven't we? And I know Wolves have been doing really well lately. Okay, up until the immediacy of they having lost the previous 2 games, but even then they didn't lose it by much. Arsenal nicked it in injury time, didn't they? So they have been playing well, but we seem to have the sign over them. And again, this goes back to the comment I made earlier. I think Vieira says I read a report yesterday saying that as good as we were going forward in the first half, we're equally good in defence in the second half. And that's what we want, isn't it? We want a balanced team. We want a team that can do both. And that was epitomised by Zaha coming back and nicking the ball off of Neves. You know, I think he was quoted as saying he's done so much. He felt like he's running the whole of the second half, and yet he only touched the ball about 3 times.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what it needs. You know, it's those little margins that we need.
So you predicted a defeat for us yesterday?
Oh, in the prediction league, yeah, I've got absolutely slaughtered in that.
Okay,
I think I had it down as a 3-0 loss.
Fantastic. Tim, what did you predict for yesterday's game?
As Ian pointed out, I'm really old. So I can't remember. I think it was a draw. I think I had it down as a draw. Because obviously, if I'd still been in New Zealand, I could watch the games, but being back in England, I couldn't. I had soccer Saturday on, and it was really interesting listening to the guy who was commentating or covering the game, and it was just basically constant positive about Palace. He just said, "There's only one team in this." But even before we scored, he said, "Palace have come out, they've dominated the game, played really well, and then obviously we went in 2-0 up." And I was kind of looking at Wendy, looking at the TV, going, "Did he just say that?" And then second half, he said it's like Wolves came on more as they would do. He said, but Palace handled it. The defence handled everything fine. So to me, it sounded like a really professional Premiership game where we went away, went 2-0 up, and then went right. Let's shut up shop, clean sheet, confidence building. And hearing how well Wilf was playing, apparently, kind of thought maybe I've been too harsh on Wilf for the rest of the season. Maybe I'm expecting too much. But they were talking about him yesterday, saying he was right. Like I said, running back, defending, helping out. Something that I haven't seen him do in the other games that I've been to see this season. So, yeah, it sounded brilliant. I was delighted with it, obviously.
Yeah, good. So you predicted the draw. What about you, Aaron? Where did you go with your prediction?
I'm going to be honest. I predicted a loss.
Okay.
But
Okay.
look. I mean, we've got the lineup here. I mean, this game for me, I'll tell you this now. I know this might be a bit of a statement, but that first half was the best performance for me nearly all season.
You're right.
All season. I tell you what, the way we come out the first 10 minutes and gave it to them. Did anyone see the way that we were pressing for the first 10 minutes? They didn't know what to do. They didn't actually have a clue what to do. And it was absolutely amazing to watch. I mean, Conor Gallagher was playing up front. Like the way he was pressing. Absolutely everywhere, Ian. He was absolutely fantastic. And credit to Patrick Vieira, because I thought that we'd go to Molineux and we'd struggle there, but you could tell that the way that we pressed them in the first half, that completely threw them off their game.
Absolutely.
Completely threw them off their game. And yeah, so exactly what happened there. It was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, again, I think someone said in the chat, sorry, I missed it because I had to pop off, but it was a game of two halves. You know, we went 2-0 up.
Classic
And
quote.
then yeah, we went 2-0 up, and then you could tell that Vieira said something to him at half time, you know, because they completely changed. There was nowhere near as much press. It was the first thing that I saw. There was hardly no press. And I think what he said was, because he said in his post-match, he said, I wanted to see how we could handle, you know, playing a different style of the game when 2-0 up. And I thought the boys did pretty well.
Okay, Tim, I'm going to come to you in a minute. I just want to cover this comment from Mark Callahan in the comments. Mark, I like this. He says, I think Patrick Vieira gave the players a kick up the backside after the Stoke game. He stated the players were making it easier for him to pick the team if they don't perform. And I think you're spot on there, mate. So yeah. Tim.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that comment, but that was kind of where I was going, because, like Aaron said, the high press going at them, which is how we started the season. But I do think over Christmas and since Christmas, that's been missing. How many of those games have we started off really poorly in the first half and been lucky not to be losing or holding on? Yeah. And like Aaron said, I think after the cup game, where we all know how unhappy Vieira was. I mean, Ian, we saw from where we were sitting, we saw the state he was getting into. So I think yesterday was probably the players responding to what Vieira said. Now, what I want to see is for the rest of the season, including the cup games, the same energy, the same effort, the same push. There's no excuse for them not to do it. They know they can do it. They've shown. I mean, let's face it. Was it last week people were talking about Wolves as being possible European, one of the top players, one of the top teams, and we basically went there and put them down. So
absolutely. I mean, they were before they went to Arsenal, they were pushing for a top 4 place. Wolves, not just European qualification. People were talking about them qualifying for the Champions League. As Ian said, they got beaten in the last minute at Arsenal. That's 1-0 at West Ham, having had the majority of possession, and so everyone was expecting a home win. And I think that, having been in the stadium yesterday, there was quite a lot of hype around the game for Wolves. They gave us the side bit. So, we had the whole side of the ground. So behind both goals and all the other stands, obviously full of Wolves fans, they had this flame show beforehand with a W and, all the razzmatazz and all that kind of stuff. And you're right. So, we started on the front foot right from the off, and we didn't really give them a chance to settle. And it was really, really good to see and really good to experience. And we sort of turned into prime Barcelona in that first 15, 20 minutes, and they could not live with us at all. Ian, have you had a chance to see the game from yesterday? You're back with us, the better looking one.
Which Ian are you talking to? The better looking one? That'd be a yes.
Speak.
I managed to catch it on online, and it was a great game. As I say, it's just before my battery died. I had us down to lose 3-0. So to see us and read of us coming away with such an accomplished performance, just bodes well for the future. I mean, I don't know what does that. What do you think that means for the FA Cup? Do you think he's going to now go for this same team on the run-in? Is he going to give anyone else a chance in the cup, or what?
There might be one or two changes, but that was as near as you get to a full strength side at the moment. We've already talked about Mateta at length tonight, but let's talk about the goals. Let's talk about the press and the way we managed to get the first goal for a start. Anderson clears the ball out from the back, a long ball forward. Who is it that heads the ball down into Gallagher's path?
Mateta.
Yeah, exactly.
Mateta.
Showing Benteke what he should be doing.
It was one. Yeah, he did. There was a little nudge, and VAR had a look at that, but there was nothing in it. It was one of the few headers he won yesterday in the middle of the park. Tim and I were watching the Stoke game together, and he couldn't win a header against Stoke in the middle of the park. Ian, you can have your say in a minute. He couldn't win a header in the middle of the park against Stoke. He won little in the air yesterday, and I was berating him for that, but he did win that header. Gallagher's ball down the right wing to Wilf was absolutely brilliant. Time to perfection. And Wilf gets on the end of it and somehow gets the ball across. It nearly went out of play. It was ever so close to going out of play. Mateta gets on the end of it. The keeper sort of falls on it, fumbles it. And Mateta, there we go. He's just side-footing it over the line, 1-0. And then we have the traditional celebration to add the Wolves corner flag to those of Brighton and Millwall and others where, Nigel's done a special tribute to Mateta. I think we're going to see a little bit later on. So 1-0. And there were other chances before we got the penalty to make it 2-0 as well. And Wilf down the left-hand side, he gets the ball over a few times. Mateta stabs again. He's in the box. Gallagher's in the box. Gallagher has a shot to, I think that was after the penalty, that one though, where he curls it and Sarr tips it around the post. And how good was Jeffrey Schlupp yesterday?
Oh,
he's
amazing.
good full stop though, isn't he?
Aaron, how good was Jeffrey Schlupp?
He was absolutely amazing, mate. I mean, I can't remember the exact moments. I did write them down, but he had a couple of, there was one point where he took on about 4 of them, and he had the shot. And I'll be honest, he should have scored. I mean, that was 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he should have scored. But
I think it was 0-0 then.
Yeah, and then look again for the penalty. I mean, he just drives, and you can see now. Like, I understand completely, Ian, because I know you're his biggest critic when he's playing in that middle of the park, and I completely agree with you because sometimes he's just like non-existent. But when he picks up that ball, and that's obviously you can see that's what he's been told to do. Drive at them because he's got the pace, he's got the technique because he's a winger out and out. The way he drove at them yesterday, I was so pleased to see it because, like you say, he's in and he's out. You don't see him for a couple of games, but yesterday again, just then runs into the box completely unplayable, and the way he passed the ball around as well. I was very impressed with Jeffrey Schlupp yesterday.
Yeah,
very impressed.
Yeah, great. Wins the penalty, and then when we win the penalty on 34 minutes, what are we thinking? Are we thinking, Wilf's going to have it? Is he going to miss? Is he going to score? What were your thoughts, Tim? Did you think he was going to score, or were you fearing that he was going to do another Norwich?
No. I was glad Wilf took the penalty. I think he needed to after that one. It wasn't the best penalty still. If the keeper had stood up, he would have saved it. But he had the guts. He took it and he scored. So, no, bring on the next game.
And I think, you touched on it earlier. I think Wilf had a good game yesterday. He was great off the ball as well. In the second half, there was that occasion where a Wolves player was about to pull the trigger on the edge of the box, and it was Wilf that was tackling back and got his foot in. Do you remember that bit? Absolutely outstanding display from Wilf yesterday. And I can't understand how he didn't get any bonus points in the FPL system myself, because I've got him in my team. I was a bit gutted he didn't, but
you're only saying that because I'm very close up your backside.
You're not anymore, mate. I tell you, you're miles away. I'm top, you're second, but you're miles away. Let me tell you that for nothing. Yeah, Jason Green said Zaha man of the match. I thought he was. I thought Wilf had a fantastic game yesterday. I think the thing with Wilf, Tim, you touched on this. I think the thing with Wilf is that our expectations are so much higher. Every time he gets the ball, we think he's going to go past a player. We think he's going to make the perfect pass, shoot on target every time. He's a great player still, but he's only human. He's going to make mistakes. He's not going to get it right all the time. So I think our benchmark for Wolf is that much higher than any other player, which is why we judge him the way we do. Tim,
who was our right back yesterday? I missed the line.
Klein played. Wardy's still injured. Now, let's talk about Nathaniel Klein then, because he's in his second spell at the club. He made his name at Crystal Palace, played over 100 games for us as a youngster. He's now played about 5 or 6 games on the spin. He wasn't getting a look in under Ward because, Ward's got his critics as well, but he was playing well, Wardy. Wardy gets injured and Klein is the natural replacement, given that young Ferguson's made of glass and he's not going to feature for a while. But Klein has done ever so well. He's taken his chance. He's not an outstanding right back. I think if we're looking at building the squad and adding to it in the summer, a right back for me would be a priority. But I thought he's done all right.
Would you put Ward back in straight away when he's back from injury?
Absolutely not. No, I think I'm a great believer in if someone's got the shirt and they're playing well, then they keep their place. Okay. Klein not done anything wrong since returning, says Tom Clark Samuel. And I would agree with you, Tom. Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that I'd drop Nathaniel Klein if Wardy come back in. I mean, I'm not going to say he's been absolutely outstanding, but look, in football, if you come in and do a job, he's come in and done a job. And let's be honest, we look back at our last 4 games. We've picked up 7 points out of 9 in the Premier League, and we're through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. I mean, if we said that 4 games ago, we'd be absolutely dreaming.
Bite your hand off.
Yeah, 100%. So, in my opinion, you don't change a winning team. I can understand, and that's what I like about Patrick Vieira. When we're playing certain opposition, he plays different players because they have different strengths. But look, Nathaniel Klein at right back has done nothing wrong. He's held his own. He's in the team for me the next few games, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Capped 14 times for England. Which leads me on to that question that Nick left with us. Mark Gee, centre-back. Should he be in Gareth's England squad? Gareth Southgate was there yesterday.
Yeah, I was about to say that, yeah.
Okay, so Gareth Southgate's at Molineux yesterday. Who's he watching? Is he watching Connor Cody? Or is he watching Mark Guehi? Or Tarek Mitchell? Or is he watching all 3? And Conor Gallagher, of course. So, thoughts on that, gents?
Now, just a quickie, they said, because I know you was at the game, Ian, and Tim get to watch it. Now, before the game, they said that Gareth Southgate was there to watch Max Kilman.
Oh, yes.
Now, Max Kilman was the one that gave away the penalty, so I was absolutely laughing my head off at that point. But yeah, Ian, why is Mark Guehi not in the mention? I mean, this is a guy that's an England under-21 captain. He is now taken up the captaincy role of us for the moment. And this is a guy that's got better by each game. So why is he not in the reckoning for a call up? If we're talking about Max Kilman and Connor Cody getting a call up, I'm sorry, that performance yesterday, get Mark Guehi straight in that England squad.
Absolutely. Tim, do you agree?
Well, I mean, all I say is you look at the current Man United captain and his form, who's also England, against Mark, like you said. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. You've got 2 players playing in the same position, playing against the same teams, and you look at the different level of performances you're getting from them. But it comes back to, is the club he plays for going to play against them? I know Gallagher's represented England. He's had his England cap, but he's a Chelsea player. So,
Well, whether he was looking at, he's obviously looking at all these players. But I have to say, I just have to make this comment. Max Kilman, do you know how they announced him when the teams were announced at Wolves yesterday? It was Maximilian Kilman.
Now,
how posh is that?
No, because he this is a funny stuff because he had an interview with someone, I can't remember, it might have been Soccer AM, someone like that, only that I follow on socials, and he actually said that he doesn't like being called Max. He prefers to be called Maximilian. So take of that what you will, but that is a true story because I've
Anyway,
seen it
listen,
myself.
guys. This is a Palace pod, not a Wolves pod. So we need to keep the conversation on. That's my fault. So let's keep the conversation on Palace. But I think both Mark Gee and Tyrick Mitchell have both done themselves no harm yesterday in front of Gareth Southgate for sure. Both had sound games yesterday, played really, really well, and of course Conor Gallagher, he was everywhere, covered almost every blade of grass. Asian Aaron Wan-Bissaka, your mission is almost complete. Someone's been asking in the chat. I saw it come up in front of me a minute ago. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry. Should we re-sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka if we are given a chance? Two shakes of the head here in the studio. So what do we think in the chat? AWB, if we had a chance to sign him for, say, 20 million, should we have him back? Or should we just say, thanks for the money, Man United, see you later? Aaron.
I think, look, our transfer policy, we're talking about what we've done over the summer, right? With Michael Elise, Ebery Eze, we're plucking all the young talents from the Championship. That's what we've done. And look how well it's serving us. So why would we want to go to Man United and take Aaron Wan-Bissaka back? I can tell you a couple of right backs in the Championship at the moment that are absolute class.
Go on then. Who are we talking about?
Oh, what's that young bloke from Middlesbrough? I can't remember his name. He's been absolutely superb.
I love this. This is cutting edge reporting. This is cutting edge reporting. I know a couple of young right backs in the Championship. The young lad from Middlesbrough. Yeah, okay. Anyone know the young lad from Middlesbrough? Stick his name in the chat if you know it is. Help Aaron out.
I think his name might be Jed Spence. I believe
no, that's the Forest.
That's the Forest one.
Yeah,
sorry, but he's on loan from Middlesbrough, I believe. So, there's why would we change our transfer policy from what we've done in the summer? I just believe we should look how well it's done for us at the moment. So
there we go. So yes, he's a Middlesbrough player and he's on loan at Forest. Is Spence? Yeah, Tim.
So my question is, all right, so you spend 20 million on AWB, or do you not, and put 20 million towards buying Conor Gallagher from Chelsea?
Well, you'd do the latter, wouldn't you, all day long? But the point being is that at the end of this season, I think Wardy, bless him, he would have done 10 years. His time has come. Klein is the wrong side of 30. We need a new right back because I don't think Ferguson's going to make it. Max Aaron's name's been mentioned, the Norwich right back. Assuming Norwich get relegated, which it rather looks like they're going to be, he could be a good option as well. So you said two, Aaron. Can you think of another one, or were you wishful thinking?
I think I was wishful thinking.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll let you off.
You're not going to let me forget that one, are you?
No, that's fine.
Too long. Jeez.
That's absolutely fine.
To be fair, I think someone said, is it Marcus Tavernier? Daniel said in the chat, which is the Middlesbrough right back at the moment.
Oh,
so
okay.
There is a couple of good players down there, and let's not change what we're doing.
Okay, well, your homework for the next fortnight is to go and watch some Championship games. Come on this show and tell us if there are any more right backs out there, and give Dougie Friedman a call and see if you can help him out a bit. But there we are. So let's come back to yesterday's game. As good as the first half was, we're 2-0 up. It could have been 4-5 actually. Chances we had. We go in at 2-0. Come out in the second half, and Wolves clearly, they had to do something. They did come at us in the second half. They didn't really create an awful lot in the first 15 minutes. I think Jimenez then came on the hour mark, something like that. And of course, I was quite pleased to see Jimenez off the team sheet, actually, because I rate him. I think he's a fantastic player. And they did just cause us a few problems, but we defended so very, very well. The aforementioned players we've talked about already, Gehe, Mitchell, Anderson, Klein, they all defended really, really well. And then, of course, Milivojevic came on. Thoughts about Milivojevic's performance yesterday when he came off the bench, Aaron?
Yeah, I thought Milivojevic did very well. I thought he was. You could tell at half time that Patrick Vieira had changed something, as I said before. You could tell that we held off a bit. There was nowhere near as much energy in the press. you know, you could tell that maybe energy levels were completely dropped off. But no, Luca coming on, I was screaming round about that time that Luca come on for a sub to be made. Not for Luca, but just to, you know, because I could tell that we were getting a bit leggy, a bit tired, and he come on and he did really well. You know, his job was to obviously fill in for what Kouyaté come off for and screen that defence, and well, he screened it well because they didn't score a goal, did they? So yeah, I was pretty impressed.
It certainly didn't. In the ground, I don't know if you watched the stream, but in the ground, it didn't feel like we only had 36% possession, which surprised me. So Wolves had 64, we had 36 for the whole game. Shots on target there. They have 5, we had 8, which was reflective, I think. Shots off target, 4 and 1. Corners were 7 each. And again, it didn't really feel like they had that many corners. They completed more passes than we did. We got more free kicks. Offsides. Guess who was caught offside more than anybody else? It's pretty obvious, really.
I know what you're going to say now.
It's your man Mateta, mate. That's who it was.
It's my mate Mateta.
You know, he's got to learn to stay on side. He really has. You know, the number of times he got caught offside was ridiculous, frankly. But there we are. We can forgive him that because he scored a goal and he ran his socks off for an hour or so, and we got the points. And it was very sweet travelling back from Wolverhampton yesterday with the 3 points in our back pocket, and a job well done. So. Let's look ahead. Games we've got coming up. We've got a nice little break now, really. We're not on next weekend because we don't play Manchester City until the Monday. Manchester City, fresh off the Derby win today, they won 4-1 against United, and they'll be on top of their form as well, I'm sure. But I'm really looking forward to next Monday night under the lights at Selhurst Park. Let's have your predictions for Monday night in the chat, and I'm going to come to you, Tim, first for your prediction against City, and then you, Aaron. What do you think? How do you think we're going to get on next Monday night, mate?
I have to be honest and think we're going to lose 3-1. That one.
3-1.
Yeah.
God, get behind me, Satan. Right, Aaron.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to be positive because Patrick, as I've elaborated to before, Patrick Vieira will pick a side based on what strengths. Now, I'm going to say I'd drop Mateta next game and play Edouard because the only way you're getting through Man City is pace behind the back. You can't hold up against Man City because they'll clatter you, and you can't beat them in the air because their centre-halves are so bloody tall. So, yeah, but I think, look, we went away to the Etihad and beat them, so why can't we get a result at home? But look, I think they're in great form at the moment, so I'll go for a draw.
Yeah.
To be honest, to be honest, the way that I look at it is we're safe now. I don't think there's any threat of us going down. Cup game coming up. I'd be happy just to write this one off and just say, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's just put a real attacking team out and let's just give it a go and see what we can do. I mean, we're not going to go down. We're in the quarterfinal of the Cup. We're above Brighton. Go for it. I mean, but
we're not going to give a game away. We'll be all out to win it. And I think Patrick Vieira, mind the gap. Yes, Brighton. mind the gap, Brighton. Know your place. We haven't been able to say that for a while. And this was Nick's face when he saw that. He was, you go off this show, you're going to get it, mate. It's as simple as that. He was just aghast.
Terrible.
I know. We're so cruel to him, aren't we? But there we are. Yeah, I think Patrick Vieira will have a point to prove against Manchester City. I know we've been up there and won 2-0. They had the lion's share of the possession. It was a great day out. We didn't think we were ever going to win again. I was up there when Townsend scored the screamer, and then we win again up there. They don't like playing us, really. So I'm going for a 2-1 Palace win. I'm going to go for I predicted 1-1 in the prediction, so I said that. But now I'm thinking we might just sneak it and beat them and be the first team to do the double over them. And I think it was Chris Lehman. It was great to have him on last week from One More Point. And I think he's written something, or I saw it, or maybe it was on one of his tweets because he tweets for England, that guy. Something about we're going to be the first team to beat Man City 3 times in a season. They're going to go on and win the league and the Champions League, and we'll beat them 3 times. Do the double over them in the league and beat them in the FA Cup final. How good would that be? And then he woke up, apparently. So there we are. So there we go. So Man City, various predictions. A lot of people are going for a Palace win, full of optimism, draws. Everyone's got red and blue tinted specs on, like me, most of the time. Okay, so and then we come to the cup game. So we are probably going to have a show. We haven't decided yet after the Man City game, but it'll be really good to reflect on that and preview the Everton quarter-final a little bit more. Look ahead at that, because I really think we've got a great chance against Everton in the cup. You know, we've already beaten them once at Selhurst this season, and there's no reason why we shouldn't. I think we could even be slight favourites to win that game. Tim.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to mention is, was I right in thinking that the cup game during the week was Mitchell's 50th appearance? For
Yeah,
Palace?
that's right. It was. Yeah.
He's had 50 appearances already. That's another one we've got in the bank, isn't it? To be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice landmark for Tariq Mitchell to pass that 50 appearances for sure. Okay. There we go. And then the first senior Palace start, we've done that one already, I think, for Adaramola. We get this right. How do you say it, Aaron? Adaramola.
Can I just blame it that I've turned half Australian, and can we leave it as that?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
I just want to say, Ian, how just to annoy our chief a bit more. What an amazing job you've done at presenting and hosting this show tonight. I mean, he may even be out of a job if you carry on in this way. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
You're making me blush now. You make me blush, but there we are. There we go. Okay, I think we're going to wrap this up now. Ladies and gentlemen in Facebook land, thank you so much for joining us this evening on the Red and Blue Review. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us. We're going to leave you now, and we'll see you all again next time. Cheers, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Take care.